Hey, and welcome to another episode of the Marco Podcast.
A show dedicated to the realness of organization and entrepreneurship. This space was created for every woman who needs motivation or inspiration to get organized and to keep going after her dream. I'm your host, Angel J. Sit back and prepare for valuable tips, resources, laugh, and much more. If this is your first time here, welcome, and thanks for joining. If you've been hanging around for a while, welcome back, and I hope you brought a friend. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode. Today, I have Pamela Dale on the show. Pamela is the owner of Meet Your GHL Gal. With a steadfast belief that great things happen when women have money, she champions economic empowerment and financial independence for women across the globe. She is the charismatic host of the Level Up Show, where she dives deep into strategies and insights to elevate your business and life journey. So, everyone, let's welcome Pamela. How are you today?
Fantastic, Angel. So great to be here. Can't wait to see what we get up to.
I can't wait to see what we get up to either. Is there anything else you would like to share before we get started?
No, I love that. Absolutely. Always about how can we take our gifts and talents and make enough money so that we can live the life that we're here to live. But first of all, we've got to get the safety and security thing taken care of. Yeah. Making
Yes.
sure that a woman doesn't have to make a choice between putting shoes on her kid and getting a cab home on a Friday when she could sure use a ride. So
Exactly.
we've got it's really hard for me to believe in any person anywhere in the world that we couldn't sit down and find something that we could bundle together and make money with. So that's what I really specialize in.
Okay, awesome. I love it. Well, I'm ready to talk about it. So, how long have you been an entrepreneur and how did you get started?
Entrepreneur is such a big word. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know how to spell that word when I first started, nor did I even understand that I was nowhere near one. I was simply self-employed.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship is so different than being self-employed. It's quite a journey, I think, into that word. And an entrepreneur is someone who I think innovates and builds these businesses. At the beginning, I just built myself a job. I was
Oh,
out of the corporate structure and I could, lounge around in my pajamas if I wanted to. I
right.
couldn't at a corporate setting, but it took me a while to really step into being a business owner. And what does that mean? I think it's really around the money side of things, talking about making the right offers, thinking about profit, not wrapping my value into what it is that I offer. I'm talking about the value that I offer into the world, something I've got this mission that I'm here to do. So it grew with me as I grew.
Okay.
And it's been 10
So,
years. So I didn't even answer that question. But it's been
no,
about
it's
10
fine.
years.
No, it's fine. I like the way that you turn it around and you're like, what is an entrepreneur and how do you feel like one? Because I really think it's like one of those words that we just toss around a lot, and
Yeah.
then there's so many variations of it, and depending on who you talk to, somebody might say I'm an entrepreneur, somebody might say I'm a solopreneur. Well, both of them only have one person, in their business. I'm a small business owner, so it depends on who you're talking to and how you're talking to them about it. So I like your definition of it and how you found your way into it.
Yes.
So, what made you kind of want to get started on this journey?
It started with a real desire very early on for freedom. And I couldn't really do that inside of the places I was, jobs, etc. But I did get into sales, which gave me a little bit more creativity, a little bit, the salespeople always get away with just a little bit more than the rest of the company sometimes. And I
Right.
was able to get those bonuses. I was able to get the income based on my real effort, my own effort versus, when you're in other roles, sometimes one can work harder or not as hard and they all receive the same pay. So for me, I wanted to have some goals, something I could kind of strive towards. So that was always there. But yeah, I got pregnant at 17, and that wasn't a real option for me to do a whole lot of looking and lurking and exploring and things like that. I just had to put my head down and get really to work and bring home some money. So it was in my late 30s when I had an opportunity to go over to Korea and teach English. Someone approached me, really long, wild story. And I was like, I said no the first time, but the second time I said yes. And I had been over there for a year, coming back with a new level of confidence. And I thought, the world has changed. I saw what was happening in Korea. It was different. I came back and I said, what if I don't go back to a job? What could I do? And it started me down this path of looking for what I could do online. Started teaching English, then it moved into coaching, and then it moved into digital marketing, social media, and now it's into helping people build software businesses. But that journey has been very progressive as I've grown and changed. But it was a real desire to just be extremely independent and to live life on my own terms, the way I wanted to live it.
Okay, yeah, and I think that's the reason that, a lot of people kind of go down this path and into this journey is because they do want to be able to live life on their own terms. They want to be able to be creative when they want to and kind of create their own thing.
Yes. Yes.
So how can one organize their thoughts about themselves and the world and their business?
Well, it's just like moving a house, or you need to create a new space for a baby coming in, etc. What's the first thing you have to do? You have to take stock of what's already there. You got to take a good look around. So I don't know about you, but there's been times where I wouldn't open my bank account. There have been times where I wouldn't look at the dollars. There have been times I didn't want to see what was in all those boxes in the basement, right? And
Yes.
our thoughts are exactly the same. They are running so silently, so smoothly in the background to try to keep us safe that I don't even know they're there, but I can see the evidence of them. So if we don't have the results that we want in life, we have to go back to what are the thought processes that are perpetuating themselves in the behaviors, right? So I think something, then I'm going to feel something, and then I'm going to take some action or not take some action. But it starts with the thoughts that I have first. So we have to slow down and start to do some writing. Now, I fought this for a long time. Honestly, Angel, I thought that's just woo woo. I don't need to do that. I'm a get shit done kind of girl. We're just going to go. We're going to force ourselves through this. We're going to make it happen. That is burnout 101, right?
Yes.
Burnout 202 is doing that again.
Right. Continuing to do it. Yeah.
Well, this time I'll just go harder, faster, and smarter. And it was actually the opposite. I had to pull back and take a really good look at what I believed about myself, about the world, about money, and about what was possible for me. So
Okay.
that's the first, is take stock. And you take stock by looking at the results. If you don't have an area of your life that's working, there's some thoughts that aren't working. And this takes courage, doesn't it? To open your bank account the first time when you haven't, like it's a visceral reaction, yes? Like it's
Yes.
like, oh, it's the same with your thoughts. Like, what is going to be in there? And you're going to find some things that are not going to be anywhere near how bad we think they are by facing them. It's that big old boogeyman under the bed, kind of over in the corner of the basement. But we go over and take a look, and it's really not as big or as bad as we thought. It's
Right.
like that big old bag of hot air. Like there's really nothing in it. And once we determine that we have these goals in this life that we want to have, we need something, and it's called courage. And it's the courage to go look. So if we go and we just start looking, that's the first step.
Okay. And
Sometimes, isn't that all it takes? Is like, oh my God, some of them will fall away right away. Some of them are just ridiculous thoughts. Yeah. Some
right.
of them will have a lot more emotional hold. Some of them we're going to hang on to with tooth and nail. And you've got them, I've got them, your friends got them. You go and have a conversation with somebody and they're just like dug in. It's a thought process, a story that they're telling that they're not ready to let go of. The reason we're not ready to let go of this story is because then we're going to have to go do the thing that we say we want to do. So these stories are easier than to go and find what it's going to take inside of us to go, which is just courage.
Yeah. It's like, a lot of times we hype stuff up in our head so much that we make it more than what it actually is, it's like the thing that I see going around on Facebook a lot. And it's like when you've planned out your whole conversation and the person comes and apologizes to you, and it's like, or you're having a conversation with somebody and they don't stick to the script that you came up with in your head. It's like you came up with this whole script in your head, or you invented this entire monster in your head, and it's actually not there. But because you've built it up so much, you don't want to go look because you put that fear into yourself of
Mhm.
it's this big scary thing. And it's not. You have, like you said, you have to take the courage to go look and realize that you're the one that probably built it up to way more than what it is.
So true. And I think that's why two people in the same situation will see it differently, is because we've given it a different story. And our brain, if we can just be loving and kind, our brain is doing that to protect us, to keep us safe. So if we understand that and we can give some love and compassion to ourselves that, oh, that thought has perhaps worked. But now that I have new goals and new paths for my life, I may need to change those. So the first thing I have to tell myself is I'm safe. It's going to be all right.
Okay.
And
Okay.
sometimes we try to go through this alone. Do you ever see those hoarding shows?
So it's funny that you say I actually had a guest on here who used to work on hoarders, and she was like talking about some of the things, and I was like, I could never get through like a whole episode of the show because as soon as I would see one of those little creatures that you just don't want to see in your house or pretty much anywhere, I would flip the channel. So I've seen pieces of it, but not ever a whole show.
And is there any way that they could have done what is accomplished at the end of that show without help?
No, not at all.
So we're not getting the help we need either. Somehow we think that it's this fierce independence that's going to it's for me it was, well, if I have help then I can't really claim I did it. Nobody talks about out there that everybody has partners and company and friends and mentors and coaches and just people that just like walk right beside them. But a lot of us are trying to go alone. And when we do, we cannot. And my best friend used to say to me all the time, Pamela, your brain is not someplace you need to go alone. It's dangerous. It's dangerous, right? It's
Yeah,
dangerous in there for you. And she was such a gift for me to be able to really mirror back for me what was happening because if we could really see it, would we keep doing the same thing over and over and over again? We just
right.
can't see it. So we need help. So first, you got to go look at it. Second, you got to get some help.
Right. I agree. It's funny that your best friend says it because my cousin always tells me that. Like, she's like, you cannot be left to alone. She's like, you can't be left alone to your own devices. And I'm like, no, I can't. And so if she goes on vacation or something, I'm like, okay, how long are you going to be gone again? And she's like, do not make any life changing
Right.
decisions with that while I'm gone. She's like, I don't want to come back to you saying that you did a thing or anything like that. Or so sometimes I'll text her and if she's a nurse. And so she can't always like respond right back to me. So sometimes I'll be like, oh, what should I do about X, Y, and Z? And she'll take too long to respond back. And then she'll be like, don't do it. I'm like, oops, too late. I already did. I'm like, you left me alone for too long. So it
Too
happened.
long.
Yeah. So
So true.
I completely get that about, not being alone with your own brain there. So yeah.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
and we do need community and we need support. And you can't go at it alone, but we're so conditioned and programmed, like you said, to be like, okay, I have to do this myself because I don't want to share the shine or the glory with anyone else, or I don't want people to feel like they did anything for me. And if someone is there to really help you and they really care about you, they're not trying to help you because they want recognition for it. They're trying to help you because they don't want you to get burnt out and they want to see you succeed. But you have to be open to letting them help you.
I think it's carryover from the school days. What was it called when you got help on a test?
Oh, cheating?
It was
Cheating?
cheating,
Yeah,
right?
cheating.
So
That's
wasn't there shame and all of those things placed on us around that? I remember somebody cheated off of me and she got 0 and I lost half my marks.
oh, wow.
And so it's like we've all got to let we saw someone or it happened to us or we did it, etc. And
Right,
we need to shake that coming into this entrepreneurial world, right? Like
right.
I got to let go of all of that. We need help. Every big business has got a partner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they do, and again, like you just said with small business, we got to let go of the whole I don't need help. And we also have to be willing to help one another as small business owners because we've also been so conditioned to think that okay, well if I help this person then that's taking something away from me. If I share my knowledge with this person that's taking away from me, and no, it's not taking away from you. You're helping someone else. You can help each other, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying give them the recipe to your secret sauce, but it's okay to help people out.
I found that that's actually the only way.
I agree. I
It's
agree,
actually the
Pam.
only way, and give all of my stuff away, like, yeah, copy the name if you want to, go for it. It doesn't even bother me because I know that they can't replicate it because it's my soul in it too. So
Right.
they'll take part of it, they'll change the name and do their thing, and yeah, off you go, that's fine.
Right.
It doesn't even bother me, right? Like some people just get really worked up. I'll help people build a course. They're like, how can I lock this down so that nobody can get anything and they can't touch it and they can't download it and they can't all of this. And I'm just like, nobody wants your stuff.
Nobody wants
Nobody
it.
wants your stuff.
No.
Like, and they're if
But
they're horrible, horrible, horrible people that do, how long is it gonna last? About a
right.
minute and a half.
Yes. And then the people who ask for help but then don't want to help anyone else. I remember
Mm.
and I may have shared this before on my podcast, I can't remember, but I remember I think it was like maybe through the height of the pandemic or when stuff was slowing down. There was this lady on my Facebook page who I think she made like shirts and stuff like that. And she was trying to find a place that had the type of shirts that she needs. So she posted on Facebook and she's like, can anybody tell me where I can get these shirts from? And she probably had like over 100 comments of people like recommending places for her to try and telling her where she could go. Well, anyway, she finds the shirts and she comments and she is like, "Oh, I found what I was looking for and nobody asked me who my supplier is because I'm not sharing the information with y'all." And I'm like, "Really? You had over 100 comments of people sharing stuff with you, but now that you found what you needed, you refuse to share it with anyone else, but you expect people to help you? Like that doesn't even make any sense."
That's a
Eh,
mindset around scarcity that
yes.
the world is you can hear it, right? If you go deeper than that, things off the top of my head are there's not enough in the world to go around. They're going to take from me, or I'm going to lose it, or it's not going to work for me. Like you can hear there's this, just isn't going to work for her, right? And
Right.
that's her thought process again. And that there's also values wrapped up in these things as well, right? But that asking for help and not giving help, that's not a value. Like we could get down this road, but that's unfortunate for her, right?
Right.
When you
Oh,
think about it, wow, that's too
yeah.
bad. She's
Yeah.
struggling. She's going to continue to struggle.
Right.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you on that one. I definitely do. So why does the way that you think matter?
So important. If I don't even believe or think that something's possible, I won't even take a step towards it. It's that retinal activating system, or the RAS that we have in our brains, right? Or an easier way to describe it is the 4 minute mile. It wasn't possible until someone else did it and then everyone else could do it. It's kind of like when you go get your new car, all of a sudden you see that car everywhere, right?
Yes.
That sort of thing. But yet somebody had to believe first it was possible. And yes, it's nice to follow others when we see those examples, but you need to follow real examples, right? Not what you're seeing on Instagram. You need to follow real examples. But it's really important for me to get to a place where I believe. So I'm a little bit Irish in my heritage, right? And there's this phrase, I always butcher it. One day I'm going to look it up. It's something to do with the wind is at your back.
Okay. I think I kind of know
You
what you're
kind of know that one, right? And
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
the universe is, and I've just chosen to believe it. It's just as easy for me to believe that it's not, but I've just chosen to believe that it is.
Okay.
That's my first step, is choosing the beliefs first off of what is it that what supports me in my life. There are beliefs that support me and there are beliefs that don't, right? So I want to choose the ones that will support me in the road that I want to go down. So it's in first choosing the beliefs.
Okay. Cool. I like that. And how can you avoid burnout in your business?
Do you know what the opposite of burnout is?
What's that?
self-care. Now, I'm not talking nail polish.
Right, right.
Self-care in a business comes in many different forms. The first thing, if your audience here listening is mostly women, somebody here listening, and probably everybody here listening, needs to have a conversation with someone. There's a conversation that's been unsaid or unspoken that's causing absolute psychological turmoil. An invoice hasn't been paid, scope creep, your husband's an ass, whatever it is, right? Something, you need to have a conversation with someone. And the more conversations we have, the more that we can free up the emotional, mental, psychological space in our heads to go and do the things we need to do. So that's the first thing, is this self-care. And it can also look like building in enough breaks. So when we have goals, right? We're in 2024, everyone's got goals. The bigger the goals, the more capacity we need to achieve them. And it's breaks that build capacity.
Okay.
So it's self-care is building in those breaks and those times away from the computer. Now, there'll be you listening that'll go, hogwash. I don't think so. I got 400 things to do, right?
Right.
But how many of us, you and myself included, are doing things that are just busy work that actually are not on track for our goals in the first place?
Yes.
Amen
Yes,
or
Pam.
amen?
Amen, Pam. Amen.
If we break and we step back from the chaos and take even a couple of breaths sometimes. So my suggestion to you, when you've got that, when you're reaching out to your sister, if you implemented 3 breaths, closed your eyes, put your feet on the ground and did 3 breaths, got out of your head into your heart, might take 6 breaths the first time. I can get there in 3. And I'm just like, and you know what the phrase is that comes up every time?
What's that?
It's going to be okay.
Okay.
It's going to be okay. And then I don't need to take that action that I thought I needed to take, and I can go back and get the goals on track. So of course, when you write out the goals, there has to be steps to get there. And then you reverse engineer those steps, and then you know your monthly, weekly, daily, right? That's what businesses do. That's what corporations do. They give me the goals for the quarter. I was in sales, so I really understood the goals, right? How much we had to sell. It's the same here, but we don't always look at it that way, and we just get busy. It's easier than facing me.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Pam, you just spoke so much in so little words. Like it's
Yeah, rewind,
yeah,
because this is deep.
yes, that oh my gosh, it was so deep. And you need those breaks. Even myself, like today I just realized that I felt myself on the verge of like getting burnt out. I felt like I was doing everything and accomplishing nothing. And I was like, okay, let me sit down and let me, rewrite my task. I actually did a podcast interview yesterday and the lady was talking about like writing out your tasks. And I was like, that's something that I haven't done in a while. Like my tasks have changed since the last time that I wrote them out. I've added more steps. I've taken away stuff. Let me sit down and write those steps out. And so then I did that. And then I was like, okay, let me update my schedule from what it was. Because again, that schedule that I made 2 or 3 months ago, that's no longer suiting me. It's no
Right.
longer working for me. And so I feel like I'm running in circles and it's causing me to get frustrated. So you definitely do need to build in those breaks. And I also love what you said about having the conversation with whoever it is that you need to have the conversation with. Clear your mental space. Don't let something that doesn't need to hold space. And that's something that I too have been working on. It's just like things that don't deserve space, that don't deserve my energy, just trying to get those cleared out. So you just gave a whole message there. Like, and I am here for it. I love it. I love it
So
so
at the
much.
end of 2023, the first thing I did in my calendar for 2024 is I built in all the breaks.
Oh, okay.
And I go to church on Sunday or Wednesday night. I pick my kids up at 3:30. I drop them off Fridays if single parents, co-parenting. I do groceries on this day. Get that all in the schedule first. And then make sure that the schedule has a 30-minute gap someplace for those emergencies. And the rest of the time, set it aside for appointments, set it aside for content if that's what you're doing, and then do your best to stick to the schedule, readjust it. And instead of blaming myself when that schedule doesn't work is I will go to the schedule and fix the tool first before I'll blame me. So I set a schedule for myself. I can change the schedule for myself and building in those breaks first. What are the quarterly retreats that I'm going to go on for planning? Where is Christmas? Where is Thanksgiving? Because I've worked through Christmas every single year except this past year. The first year I took it off. I actually doubled down because it's quiet, right? And
Right.
wow, no break whatsoever. It's just so unloving and so kind. If you say it to your friend, they'll, roll their eye at you a little bit. But in my head, I got her justified.
Right.
So make sure that you've scheduled that out first and schedule in time either to have a coach or time where you go and do the things that you really would love to do. Give yourself that time, whether it's painting or going to yoga or walking along the beach or whatever it might look like. It's going to feel really hard at first because letting go of that thinking and that need for that hitching of hard work and money together to break that apart is going to be challenging, but give it a whirl. If you were like me and burnouts happens once or twice a year, right? Like I tried it, it didn't work, but only not the first 10 times. So I did it a while. I want to be in a different place each year. So to do that, I had to go back and take a look at what I was doing. And what I was doing was based on thoughts I was having.
Okay. Yeah, you have to go back and reevaluate because it's even like I noticed a lot of like business workbooks and a lot of like journals and stuff, they now come with like a monthly recap and what worked this month, what didn't work this month. And I think that's something that people should be looking into at the end of, each month. Okay, what worked this month? What didn't work this month? Where do I want to improve at next month? And then the same thing with the year. Okay, what things worked for me, what didn't? And when you're creating a schedule for yourself, the schedule's going to change. Like you just can't help that. That's life. The schedule's going to change. It's going to take time for you to get it tweaked, to get it worked out and tweaked out. And then it's going to change just because life is happening within itself. It's going to change because the season change or the time of year change. Now the kids are out of school. So now you have to adjust your schedule for that, or now sports are back in session. You have to adjust your schedule for that. So as long as you have that foundation of making your schedule, once you have that foundation, you can build upon that and adjust as needed. But it's so important to get that foundation first.
So you said something really brilliant there, and that was tracking. I don't know about you, but most women make emotional decisions in their business. This isn't working. But we have nowhere near compiled any data, or maybe don't even have the ability to look at the data because the tools we're using aren't giving us any data. So we don't see the results that we think it should give because we are running on misinformation. First of all, it takes time to get results. And then we're making an emotional decision and making a change when it could have just been taken off.
Right.
So it's also so important at each quarter or month, whatever works for you, is to evaluate the numbers. How many reach outs did you do? How many people did you talk to? How many lead magnets, leads have you come in from that lead magnet versus this one that moved to the next offer? Do you know those numbers? If you don't know those numbers, you're running blind.
Right.
Right.
And something that you said about that, it's like, you don't have enough data. And so since I started this podcast, like with the podcast, you can go and you can check like your analytics and all of that and stuff like that. And so I've been doing this podcast since April of last year. And when I would go in and check, sometimes I would look at certain things. It's like, there's not enough, data. We can't analyze this yet. And I'm like, well, what do you mean there's not enough data? Like, after I have been doing it for like 3 or 4 months, I'm like, I've been doing this for 3 or 4 months. How long is it going to take you all to compile this data? Like, it takes time. Just because you do something one time, 2 times, 3 times, heck, even 15 times, that doesn't mean that you have enough data to show a trend and to show whether or not something's going to work and where you need to tweak at. And so
Instagram is not our friend. Instagram is telling you $10,000 in 3 months. You and I both know that's not true, Angel.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can't. And so I know for me, like patience is my weak spot. Like I'm that person that I work out for 45 minutes and eat a salad and drink nothing but water one day. And I'm like, okay, why haven't I lost 30 pounds? Like my 30 pounds should be, my 30 pounds should be gone. But that's not how it's going to happen. Like it takes time and it takes patience and it takes consistency. You have to keep working at it and building on it and building those habits?
I did YouTube for 6 months before it got anywhere. It was nothing. It was just twice a week for 6 months straight, nothing. And then
Okay.
all of a sudden, people start to reach out to me going, "Hey, do you know your analytics are you're doing really well over here?" And I go, "Oh, I haven't looked because I've been so busy, like head down doing what I was doing." And that's the other thing is making sure you're building a business in a way that you love so that you don't just like walk away from it when it just looks like it's not working. I'm having
Right.
fun anyway. So I was doing it anyway. And it took that long. And I was actually surprised. I even started it thinking, I don't know if this is going to work.
Right.
I didn't know. You
Yeah.
know, I wasn't sure.
Yeah. Sounds like being on a podcast. I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if
Oh, yeah.
anybody's going to listen, but I
Yeah.
want to. And that's why your why has to be more than just money, because when the money's not coming in, you still need to have a reason as
Exactly.
to why you're going to keep going and why you want to keep doing this.
When the
So,
money starts coming in too, you got to keep going,
right, right. You
right?
can't just
Because
give
the
up
money
because
can
it's coming.
stop.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, Pam, what are some strategies that we can use to elevate not only our life journey, but our business as well?
I think breathing is probably the first thing. It's just slowing down and taking a few breaths. The other thing I'll do every once in a while is I'll lay on the floor and put my feet up against the wall.
Oh, okay.
Like just the simplest things, because I'm anxiety ridden little beast, right? Like, or have been. Going for a walk, getting my health under control, making sure that we've gone to the right doctors to even know what's really going on. For me, it was really important.
Okay.
Conversations. I'm
Okay.
just starting with breathing, you'd be amazed. And then I do meditation and I go to yoga and I do quite a bit now. But learning how to breathe was really important.
Okay.
Yeah. And it seems so silly, so simple. But if you even just wrote, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 thing, if you even got to 5 times in a day where you just stopped and did the breathe, like took 3 breaths, it would change your life. But we're afraid of the feelings that are going to come up at that time. And that's that ghost in the corner. You just have to sit through it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Pam, thank you so much. And well, we're wrapping up here, but can you tell us some about GHL Gal?
So GHL stands for Go High Level. You see my logo here. I got this when I was at the convention speaking on stage. They gave it to me as a speaker.
I love
Go High
it.
Level is an all-in-one platform for any online business. You do not need 10 pieces of software duct taped together with Zapier, because why? You can't get the data, so you can't make the right decisions, so your business isn't going to get where it needs to go. And it's only $97 a month. I don't know about you, but 10 pieces of software is a hell of a lot more.
It is. It really
Right.
is. Yeah.
And I'm on a mission to help women make money. And if you don't have the right tools, you're not even going to be able to get out of the gate. So I'm passionate about high level because of the level of development and the level of support and the level of generosity and what they stand for in the marketplace. They're not bro. They don't have a sales and marketing department. They only have affiliates like myself who are out there promoting it.
Okay.
And they are an excellent company. If you want to know more, holler at me.
Okay. Can you tell us like some of the, I guess, programs that kind of work
Everything you
within it?
want is inside of it. So
Okay.
email marketing, funnels, reviews, conversations, your membership area, community. Like it just goes on and on and on. I can
Okay.
integrate my Facebook and Instagram conversations inside as well.
Oh, okay.
It just everything you need is inside.
Yeah,
Funnels,
that is.
websites, a chat widget, everything's automated. So full automation on the back end of it. So a
Okay.
lot of us are working harder in our business because we don't have the automation.
Right. Or if we do have automation, like you said, we've got our email system over here, and then we've got our sales funnel system over here, and then our calendars over here, and then this
Exactly.
is over here. And then sometimes the things talk to each other, sometimes they don't talk to each other. And,
Most people do that.
it's like how everybody says, oh, we cut the cord with cable because cable was getting too outrageous. And now we all have at least 10 different streaming services that cost just as much or more
That's right.
as cable did, but we don't look at it like that because it's $15 here, or $20 here, or $5
Negligible.
here. Yeah. So
If we really understood how powerful software is, it's kind of like when you go to build a house or you go to do a project in your house, if you don't have the right tool, So High Level is a really great tool. And when you work with me, I help you and walk with you the whole way. I'm your resource. So it's unusual for that level of support, but that's how I choose to build my business, is to be of service.
Okay. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Pam. I enjoyed chatting with you so much and just learning, about little things that you can do and how, again, that self-care doesn't have to cost you hundreds of dollars. It's just the small things that you do every day, and just learning, more about being a support system for other people and helping people out. Is there anything else that you would like to share before we go?
Surround yourself with people who are making money.
Okay.
The first time I did it, I got in a room and I realized immediately something viscerally took over. Shut up. You ain't got nothing to say. You ain't got nothing to contribute to this conversation. You don't know. You just listen. You come in here and you just listen. You just absorb it. And then the other thing that you can do is take yourself to the fanciest restaurant and go get a tea, or sit and have a coffee and a sandwich. Sit in a place where you're uncomfortable, where money is, and just watch. And just, how do you feel? Don't watch others, watch yourself. How do you feel? How do you react walking through the door? Do you feel uncomfortable? What's this conversation going on in your head about wealthy people? That will tell you more about your thoughts faster than anything.
Huh. I never thought about that. So I like that. That's a wonderful piece of advice. Thank you so much.
Very powerful.
And so how can everyone connect with you and get in touch with you?
So my name, PamelaJonesDale.com, or your GHL Gal, I'll come up.
Okay, awesome. And I'll make sure to link all of that in the show notes as well. And well, Pam, thank you so much for this conversation. As I said, I enjoyed it. I loved it. And I enjoyed talking to you. And I hope that you have a great rest of your day.
It's been an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Modco podcast. I hope that you enjoyed this episode and learned something from it. Be sure to share this episode with a friend, family member, colleague, or anyone you think will enjoy it. Make sure you hit the follow or subscribe button. And if you love the podcast, please leave us a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcasting app. That helps others to find us and gets us listed in other show recommendations. So you all know that I run on coffee, and so does the show. If you'd like to buy us a coffee, you can do so by clicking on the link in the show notes. Thank you so much, and chat soon.